What is up, guys? Jake from OneHive here with the next Coffee and Clash video. Thank you guys for submitting all these questions. I had some really good ones to choose from this time around, so please leave me some in the comment section for future videos. Let's get started. Sci-Fi Xy? Since you are now at Town Hall 10, what is your best advice to a fairly new Town Hall 9 trying to max out? What should I prioritize as far as upgrades, etc.? Obviously, offense. You want to go back and watch the what to upgrade as a new town as an 8.5. I think is the name of the video. That will give you a good idea. It's not much has changed. You want to get your offense up. What I always tell people is this: look, get your heroes to, let's say, 10-10 as quick as you possibly can. Get your hogs, your valks, your golems, all your war attacking troops maxed out. All right, your spells, get those maxed out. Then drop your expos at level 1, and from there on, basically the rule is this: if you're 3-starring a base that's like your level, that's like your base, then drop some more upgrades in defense. If you're not able to 3-star bases that are like your base, then upgrade some offense. Just keep it at that throughout your Town 9 career, and you'll slowly just work your way up. The reason I say that is because if you're 3-starring your weight, then your base, you need to make it harder on the enemy to 3-star your base, if that makes sense. If you're not, then you need to make it, to where you're carrying your own weight. So I hope that makes sense to you. That's my advice. Luqui Fernandez, nice and simple. In 5 years, where do you see Clash of Clans? Man, that's not so simple because it all hinges on what they do. I mean, there's so many things that they need to do with the game to keep it around for that long. And if they do them, I think the game could still be big in 5 years. If they don't, I think the game could literally be gone in 5 years. So I know it's a nice and simple question, but there's not a nice and simple answer. It totally depends on what Supercell does. And I have put out tons of videos with suggestions, ideas, things that I think need to be done to keep Clash going strong. So we'll see if they do it. Caleb Austin, what do you believe is getting people bored of this game? The lack of balance at town halls, or do you think COC has just been out for so long that it's running its life cycle? Will additions of new content bring people back, in your opinion? Sort of along the same vein there, it's a combination of things. One is, yes, I mean, games, they do have a life cycle. Every game that's ever been made and ever will be made will have a life cycle, and it'll run that cycle. Now, some last much longer than others. Some have a pretty predictable life cycle. What I would say is this: if you okay, if you have a game like a Clash of Clans to where it blows up like it did, it's huge. I mean, this game was huge, and it still is huge, 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 huge. Look back over any other game and see if you can find a game that would go almost 2 years with essentially no new content, which is what we just went through. Now, granted, they just released Town Hall 11, which was new, and this latest update with finally a new troop, there is some things that you could point to and say, yeah, well, there is new content, but not even remotely on the level that you would expect from a company making a couple $1 million a day. You would think you would have new content several times a year, not once every year and a half or so. And I think that's the mistake they made. They sort of rested on their laurels a little bit and didn't pump out stuff to keep people interested, because what happens is people get, when you do the same thing over and over and over, there's no new way to enjoy it. I've always said people want new ways to enjoy all their hard work. People put a lot of time and effort and money into building up these bases and building their heroes up and their troops and all that stuff. And you got to give them new and different ways to enjoy that hard work. And that has been lacking. So I think that is a big, big contributor. Another one I think was their lack of communication with their audience, with their player base. And I think they are moving in the right direction. All we can do is hope that it's a train that's rolling downhill. It keeps picking up steam. They keep coming out with more content, better content, more communication, all the things that people want to sort of try to breathe the fire back into the community. So we'll see. Corey Meyer, do you think they low-key nerfed the AQ walk? My level 20 queen has really been struggling lately on the same things she used to work through fairly easily. I think what you're probably noticing that you might have missed in the notes is that there was a buff to X-bow damage. So what she's probably encountering is X-bows that are doing a little bit more damage than they used to, and it doesn't take much to tip the scales in their favor. especially if you have a couple of other point defense on her or something like that. So that's my guess, because that's really the only thing that changed as far as like a buff or a nerf to the Queen Walk after they fixed the unintentional healer buff there. So that's probably what you're experiencing if I had to guess. You can let me know if you knew that or not. Changed my name because some dude thought I was a kid, so yeah. Single target Inferno is probably the least used thing in Clash except the bowler. Do you see a use of them in Town Hall 10 action and Clan Wars now that the witch has been nerfed? No. Not in Clan Wars, because it's too easy. You know, you can go back to like the Town Hall 9 versus Town Hall 10 videos, and that's what we love to see, is that single Inferno Tower, because we know we can overwhelm it. We basically will ignore it during the initial attack phase and try to get that multi down. Because if we get that multi down, we can overwhelm it with balloons, hogs, valks, whatever. You can get to it quickly and take it down. So no, in war, you don't see it. Now, you do see it outside of war. You see it in trophy pushing. You see it in more casual players quite a bit. So in our little segment of the game, yeah, it's pretty rare to see. But out there in the general public, I don't think it's quite that rare. Let's see, Crustacean Clash. You have people in the main vein, which is, those of you that don't know, that is my Vainglory guild, who mod and bot in Clash. Can you explain your reasoning behind letting these people into the main vein? Why is that okay in your mind? To my knowledge, the people that are playing Vainglory with me that used to do that, really don't play Clash anymore. And I've said for a while now that I don't blame the people that are modding at this point. And I'll try to explain what I mean by that. A rule that is not enforced is not a rule. So there are no rules in Clash of Clans right now because they're not enforced. The rules that are pretending to be there aren't enforced. If you were in a restaurant and there was a kid that was standing up in his chair and screaming and hollering and causing a ruckus, and the parents were sitting back there saying, "Now don't do that, don't do that. You sit down now, don't do that," and they just said it over and over, and the kid completely ignored them. And there was never a time where they snatched him up, took him in the bathroom, and busted their butt and told him to sit down. You wouldn't blame that child, or I wouldn't blame that child, because it's not their fault. They're not being taught, or they're not being told to not do something. There's no consequences for them doing what they want to do, not what they're supposed to do. And that's exactly what we have in Clash of Clans. There are no consequences, so there are no rules. And I don't blame these people. Those people that are playing with me that used to be in some of these clans like that, that also, the main worry I had was not the cheating stuff, but the some of the way, the toxic behavior that came out of those clans. They know how I felt about them. I've told them on Discord. I've told them directly as I can that won't be tolerated here. And if they're they know they're kind of on thin ice. If that assault at all, I would remove them from the clan. So I have no problem with these people. I really don't. If they can act in a mature way and play and have fun and represent my guild in that game well, then they're welcome. So that's the best I can answer it. I just don't hold these people responsible anymore, because it's just gone on so long that what do you expect? What do you expect? Anthony Coons. Am I the only person that finds it odd that now the Valk is buffed and the Witch was nerfed? Why did they ruin great troops? The reason for which for me was trap activation with Go Wee Wee. Yeah, I agree. I think that's the only part of the Witch nerf that I actually have a problem with. The skeletons are supposed to be weak. They're supposed to be one-shot troops. So with the introduction of the Grand Warden, that sort of wasn't happening, and so they had to do that. Now, I do not like at all the removal of the trap activation, because again, I think you're right. That is sort of it's one of the only very, very few reasons to bring that troop, and they essentially removed it. So you're going to see a mass exodus of witches, especially at high town hall levels. So that's pretty much gone. But what they're going to run into is that the people are talking about, okay, well, Valks need nerf now, because people are using, at Town Hall 11, are using mass Valk attacks that are wrecking bases. But the problem that they're going to run into is you can do this with almost any troop and the Grand Warden. It's not the troop that needs a nerf. The Grand Warden's ability is just making things very, very strong, and you can't go around nerfing the entire game, every troop out there, because the Grand Warden's incredibly powerful. You got to decide. You either want that to be powerful or you don't. Because if you nerf Valks, that nerfs them for Town Hall 10s, that nerfs them for Town Hall 9s, that nerfs them all the way down the line, just like it did with Witches, and now no one uses them. So You got to be very careful about doing that when the problem is really not the troop itself. It's a different troop. It's a hero that's causing the unbalance, not the troop itself. So you can't go around nerfing everything that something else makes overly or more powerful than you want it to be. Let's see here. Jack Lake. Hey, Jake, in your last CNC video, you said nothing but arranged wars interest you in Clash anymore. Being a hardcore farmer, I wanted to know why farming doesn't appeal to you. Doesn't maxing a troop, set of walls, or defense give you any satisfaction? Isn't farming the point of Clash? Wasn't war brought out as a side game? Thanks in advance. Yeah, you're right. That was the point of Clash. And I think they definitely intended war to be a side game. The problem is, how many times can you do that? How many times can you get satisfaction out of, leveling up a wall or maxing out a defense or maxing out a troop? It's kind of been done. And for guys like me that have been playing the game for 2 years and at one time was a hardcore farmer, that doesn't excite me anymore. And I fell in love with war, and war doesn't excite me. So that's the best answer I can give you, is that it used to, but eventually that goes away, or it did for me. And especially once war came along and that competition gets stirred up inside you, then it's like, okay, this is what it's about now, and the farming just sort of falls off to the side. Then that's just where I'm at in the game. I mean, I think a lot of people feel that way, although I think a lot of people still feel the way you do, that they enjoy that. But to me, it's just sort of that part's played out. Game with PK. Jake, our clan, Chemical X, follows OneHive content for over a year now. Man, really appreciate that. I have a question. During a queen walk at Town Hall 9, when should we start the main attack? I always get timed out. Man, that's a loaded question, and it's impossible to answer, except for to say that it just depends on the base. But here's what I will tell you. You have to go. We all got so used to that extra time and got so comfortable with it, and these super long queen walks and all that stuff. You got to go back to where we were before, and you got to say, okay, reduce the number of goals you have for your queen walk. Go back to saying, okay, it's worth it if I can. And maybe that means a few less healers on it. Maybe just, 2 or 3 healers. We used to see that a lot in queen walks. Now we got so used to that everybody put 4, maybe 5 healers on the queen because she was going to walk for freaking 2 minutes and take out half the base. That's no longer the case. So make sure that you are just saying, okay, here's my goal for the queen. I want her to get to this air defense. If I'm doing an air attack, I want her to take out this double giant bomb set in this hero. If I'm doing that, and once she gets to that, to where she's going to accomplish her mission, get the rest of that attack started. Get it moving a little bit quicker. But really, you just have to get more realistic goals for your queen walk. All of us do. We got to get used to it again. And I think you'll find some more success with it. But thank you guys for the long time support, and good luck to your clan. Fish Taco 2002. Jake, I love your vids. Watching them has made me such a better attacker. Thank you for helping me suck less. My question is, have you ever been contacted by the people whose bases you show getting 3-star? Example, in your Death of a Town Hall 10 video, obviously that base does its job by soaking up attacks, so it's a good base. Do people get mad that you show how to beat it? Any hesitation about showing other people's bases, or is this thinking your base got 3 stars, they need to get a better design? It's really neither. There's just an understanding at this point in war, high level war, range wars, things like that, where everyone knows it, whether it's streaming or YouTube videos, it's all open. It's all open. There's sort of a gentleman's agreement where you won't show a Town Hall 10 dipping down to hit a Town Hall 9, or like a Town Hall 11 dipping down to hit a Town Hall 10. You sort of try to not expose those because people might want to use them again. But again, the understanding is just out there now. When you sign up for an arranged war, your bases are open to exposure, and that's just the way it is. So if you have to build new bases, you got to build new bases. So no, I don't see anyone having any justification for getting mad about that. Yes, some of those are good bases, but again, when you sign up, when you try to sign that dotted line, say, yeah, we're going to do an arranged war or a war search, you know that going in. So it just is what it is. Lethal Clasher. In one of your vids, you said / implied that the new war matchmaking update affects the 0.5 Town Hall round in a negative way. I think that is wrong. Personally, being a new 8.5 with a 0.5 clan for these reasons. One, clans choose the 0.5 route to make wars, quote, easier, and when matchmaking system focuses on defenses more, you get easier bases for your high offense to defeat. Also, with there not being high-level bases, and on the other side, your base won't get wrecked as hard defensively. What are your thoughts after hearing this? I love your videos, man. Long time viewer and sub. Keep the great work. Thank you for the support, bro. I think you might just misunderstood me. I've never said that 0.5 was a bad thing as far as like a disadvantage. It's not. It's a like just for the reasons you just made it. It's a great advantage. I actually have gone as far as say if I wasn't worried about arranged wars, I would go like a 9.75, which is essentially a Town Hall 9, or excuse me, a Town Hall 11 offensively and a Town Hall 9 defensively. Never drop Inferno Towers, never drop the Eagle Artillery. Because think about what a monster you'd be. You'd be 3-star in Town Hall 10s regularly and essentially carrying maybe an early Town Hall 10 weight, but or super high Town Hall 9 weight. So no, I think you might have misunderstood something that I said because I agree with you. I think it's a huge advantage, and a lot of clans do it. And I think that's one of the reasons we get matched up with some of these crazy matchups is they've got some of those 0.5s and engineered bases with super high heroes and maybe level 1 expos, things like that. And we pretty much don't. Most of our bases are close to max. So yeah, it's definitely an advantage. Last one today is Sigurd Staven. Jake, a couple of questions for you. For how long do you see yourself playing Clash of Clans? Again, it sort of goes back to the decisions that are made at Supercell. I love this game. I think it's still a great game, and I think it still could be what it once was. If they make the right decisions, we'll see. We'll see. It's hard to know. It's hard to know. So much of it hinges on their decisions. Do you think you will retire from the hardcore war scene first or the game itself? For example, Maddie from Emphatic Elite is still playing the game, but now on a more casual level, visiting other clans. I think if I'm done with war, I'll be done with the game because that's all that interests me really. So when it's time for me to ride off into the sunset, I think that's what I'll do, and it'll just be over. Who knows when that day will come? Will you stay in OneHive when you retire from Clash, and that way you have access to solid content for your YouTube channel? No, I won't hang around. If I'm not playing the game, I won't just hang around and cover the game because I don't think that you really will do it as well. If you're not into the game, everyone's going to know it. Everyone's going to know it. You guys can tell when I go through slumps when I'm just kind of fed up with, all that's going on, and it comes through in the videos. And so I think that would happen for sure, especially if I wasn't even playing the game. How could I get hyped to do a recap or a stream or whatever, about the game? So I don't think that will ever happen. All right, guys, that is it for this episode. Thank you for the questions. Leave me more down below for the next one. Until then, Jake from OneHive doing my best to help you guys suck less.